What's up, guys? This is Ray with School of Racing Graphics. In this video tutorial, we're going to take a complex graphic, and I'm going to show you the easiest ways to change the colors out and modify the graphic so that you can get the most out of it if you bought it off the website, or even if you've got your own graphic that you've created. It's just got a lot of different elements in it. There's ways to build it and ways to use it, your graphic, no matter what it is. That you can modify it and use it over and over and over again and get really different and complex results. So I'm going to be using Graphic 130. It's the newest graphic on srgfx.com. Just going to be sliding it over and then making modifications to make it fit the sprint car or sprint car template. I never create the graphics thinking I'm creating this graphic so that it fits a specific type of car. I'm trying to think it through in a way where it'll work on almost any medium. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring it in. I'm going to change out the colors. There's quite a few different colors in it. I'm going to change out the colors, show you how to do that quick. Modify the shapes of the graphic, show you how to get it onto this sprint car in a way that that it works. I'm going to use these two images. I got these two images here I pulled off of Pinterest, and this style is called synth wave. So you can see the graphic is kind of like a semi-futuristic, almost kind of reminds me of like Thor's armor in some ways. It's got some chrome, some metal, and things like that. And I'm going to bring it over and I'm going to restylize it into like a synth wave style of graphic, and it'll totally change the look of it, but you can see how easy it is to repurpose it. So I'm just going to snag this guy, bring it over, copy and paste it. If you have any questions while I'm working, just feel free to hit me up in the comments, or even just say hi. Appreciate you guys following along and watching. So I'm going to paste this guy in here. And if you're on Corel, Flexi, Affinity Designer, something like that, there's tools like the tool I'm going to use here in Adobe Illustrator. I have to be honest though, Adobe Illustrator is probably the most robust design software when it comes to changing colors out quickly and easily. And so even though the tools will be different, there are similar tools in Flexi and in Corel Draw. And maybe I'll put some screenshots or something in the comments after the video so that you can see where those tools are located. So I'm wanting to convert this into something more this style. And I'll tell you right off the bat, I don't plan on using every single piece of this. So I'm going to start breaking it apart, just grabbing out the pieces that I want for now. So I'm going to move these up here. I know I'm probably going to want this guy here. So I'm always thinking this way, especially when I'm, using graphics that are on the srgfx.com website. I'm going to use the elements, but I'm going to use them probably differently than what they're packaged, even though they'll work right out of the file. So you can see what I could do here is I'm going to just select one of these elements. And I'm going to go to new color group. So that's over in my swatches panel. If you don't know where your swatches panel is, you can get it down or up in the window up here, and then just go down to swatches. Here, let me do this again. Window, swatches, it's here. This menu is in alphabetical order. And so you just go down to swatches, and there it is. It'll pop up. It's right here. And I'm going to go to new color group, and I'm just going to say used colors. Just name it something simple. Okay. And what that's going to do is it's going to create a folder and in my swatches, and it just took all the colors that I used here to create this graphic, and it put them in a folder so that they're easily, I can easily modify them. Okay, so there's a couple different ways to go about this. The colors I want to change to are these colors here. Or something like this. Switch that over. And we want to add the orange one. Okay. So there's a couple different ways you could do this. You could always just take and hold the Option key down. When you hold the Option key down, you can drag and drop it over another swatch. And then that will change that color within the graphic globally. as long as the graphics are set up as globals. And so when I say global, what I mean is let me zoom in so you can just see what I'm doing here. When I say global, I just mean the color is set up so that no matter where I use that swatch now across my canvas, it's going to change that color. So I'm going to go ahead and I can take this one here and I just hold down Option. You see the little plus mark on the hand, and I'm just going to drop it on there, and that'll change it. So then you can see here, it changed it all the way throughout. That's the power of using global colors. So I can do the same here with this one. Again, that turns it yellow. Then I got this purple. It's going to go over the burnt red. And now we have purple to pink to orange to yellow. Nice, warm, kind of a synth wave look. But let's say I don't have global colors and I want to, they're mixed colors, meaning there's no, the global swatch is not clicked. And when I say that, in case you don't know what I'm saying, you just got to make sure that this is clicked when you're making a swatch. So it's got to say global. It doesn't have to be a spot color. You can make it a spot color, but it does have to be global. And once it's global, whenever I use that swatch, I can change it everywhere really easily. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and back out of that, undo everything I just did, because I'm going to show you a different way. There's different ways to do everything in almost all design softwares. And so whenever you're doing it, don't be overwhelmed by all the options. Just know there's different ways to do it for different reasons, depending on the problem that you're running into. So don't try to always sort that out. Just use which ways suit you best. So I'm going to do the second way now. So I'm going to select these. And in this instance, you have to select the art that you want to change out. So I can select all these guys too if I want to. I don't need to. And then I'm going to select these. These are my new colors that I want to use. Okay. And I'm going to go to the Recolor Artwork tool. And I believe it's also in here. It's not in here. It's, let's see, Edit. If it's not in your top menu, it's going to be in one of these menus. It's been in my top menu for so long that I haven't had to go and look for it. So I'm not going to spend a bunch of time looking for it, but it's in one of these menus here if you can't find it. Otherwise, it's going to be right here in your top menu. And typically this top menu is going to change depending on what you have selected on your artboard. Okay, so I've got all that selected. I've got these swatches selected here. Now I'm just going to click the Recolor Artwork tool. And it's hiding over here. I'm going to actually reset my, my workspace here just so it's cleaned up. There we go. And now what I'm going to do is, you can see it's got there's a whole bunch of stuff going on here. I'm going to go to Advanced Options. And so in my Advanced Options window, you can see it's got all the different colors here that are being used in all the art that I have selected. So what I want to do is I want to go through and select this guy, and I'm going to bring it down to the dark purple like that. And then I'm going to do, let's see, we got this guy. So he's going to be the pink one. Okay. And then we got, I think it's this one's going to be orange. And then this one here is going to be yellow, something like that. And I want to make sure that I have exact selected. If it's scale tints, it could look a little bit foggy and misty, and we don't want it to do that. It'll try to scale the tints. We just want the colors exactly as they are. So you can do that on any one of these. Once you set it on a color, it's going to change it for all of them. So it won't just do exact here. It's going to change it to exact for all of them. So I think that I've got it right. Yeah, I'm looking down at the art. The art looks good, looks the way that I want it to. And I can click OK. And even though that I did it that way, I did it completely different than the way that I did it before. It still came out with the same result. And I can go back now and edit it, still using the swatches. So I can open up this dark purple. And let's say I want the dark purple to be a blue color. So now you can see it goes into a blue like that. You can see the blue there. That's not something that I prefer, but you got to get the idea there. All right, so I'll undo that. And I'm going to just do it one more time the way that I did it the first time, just because I want to make sure that my colors are set up the way that they were here. And so you can see it goes lightest to dark, or darkest to lightest, darkest to lightest. So I'm just going to pull those down. Oops. Again, if you're just coming in, I'm using graphic 130. I've pulled a few parts out. We're changing colors out, modifying a few things, and working with the graphic. Now, a couple other things you need to consider whenever you're messing with graphics, especially any kind of graphic that's got straight lines. There's ways to modify it actually pretty easily if you just use your direct select tool, which is the white arrow tool. So you can see here, it'll say direct select tool. The shortcut is A. So if you hit A, it's going to do that. And then the popular tool is the or the select tool, which is the black one. It's going to select every component. So the direct select tool is just going to select the anchor points that we want. So I just want these guys here. And that means these ones up here are not going to be modified no matter how I pull the graphic. So as long as I pull the graphic similar to the angle that it's created at, I can get it as long or as short as I want until you start seeing that distortion there. But you get the basic idea. So if I need it to fit a certain spot, I can drag it and pull it and get it to fit in that spot. All right, so I'm going to grab this guy here, and I'm going to bring him up to the top wing of this guy here, and I'm going to give it a flip. Just right-click and reflect like that. And again, this isn't a layout template. I'm typically not going to design on, print template. So I'm typically always going to design on my presentation template just so we can easily look at the presentation at the end. But this isn't how I would set up my print file. If I was setting up a print file, this wing wouldn't have an angle on it. It would just be a rectangle. But I have it set up to land here. So I'm just doing it basically for the sake of presentation. A lot of the same principles for design are going to be the same, whether or not you're setting up your presentation or your wrap file. And I know some of you guys, you just do it, you do them both together anyway. And I'm going to bring that over here. So I'm going to kind of like split the wing in half, and I need to take this, I have it as a clipping mask. And I'm going to bring this guy down here. Pop that in the clipping mask like that. So now you can see it's masked. It's got a little heel right here that I don't like. So I'm just going to size it up a little bit. And I'll make a video on clipping masks, exactly how to maneuver clipping masks. I particularly don't like clipping masks. They're a little bit, they can make things a little difficult. So I prefer to not use them. But in this particular instance, I am, because of how many elements there are in the car. That. And then you can see you could move this around if you need to. I can also just take the lasso tool and just grab these top elements actually. Just pull it just a little bit so I get a cleaner look. I don't like little random things happening at the edge where the graphic is ending. I like it to be a clean break if that's possible. So something more like that. That little heel there was bothering me, but you get the basic idea. And I'm going to take this gradient here, and I'm going to trade it out for yellow. So I don't like the white that's being used, so I'm going to put the bright yellow on it, and now it goes up to like a brighter yellow color. I could leave the white and start diving into the gradient and playing with it some, but I don't really want to mess with that too much. Okay. And I'm not putting a lot of time into this either. I'll probably, after this video, like really tweak on this particular graphic and just make it look nice for the portfolio, but I'm just getting things into place. So the next thing I'm going to do is take, let's see, This guy here, we'll take him. And kind of once I have one sized up, right, I like to keep them all the same size so that everything kind of looks to scale within the graphic. Some of the things here I built them beforehand just so that the video wouldn't be forever. Nobody wants the video to be forever. Again, if you have any questions as I'm going, feel free to ask. And you can see my artboard's going to get sloppy. I always clean it up at the end. Just go through the file and cut off loose edges and things like that. You can see I'm trying to line this up here with the sponsor. Just give it a nice, you can call it a sponsor trap. I like sponsor traps. It almost always guarantees that your sponsor is going to look nice and crisp and have a really clean spot to, it'll be easy to read. That's what I'm trying to say. So I'm going to take this guy here. And these sprint cars are a little bit more difficult for a couple of reasons. One, you don't want to try to line up anything going up on the wing down onto the body, because if you do, the wing's always tilting at a different angle. And so it's, the template looks nice the way that it is, but that's not always the angle the wing is at. So if a line comes down and then follows through here, probably want to purposefully offset it or just make it look different or do something opposite. Just so that you're not putting yourself in a position where the car is going to look really stupid later. So I'm going to bring this guy in here. That. And size it down. And so see how this is kind of getting in here and jumbling in. So this is where you want to know how to control your graphics. I don't need that part there. So I'm just going to go ahead and erase it out. So I just put a strike through with the eraser tool. I just hit Shift E, that's eraser. So I'll do it again. Or I'm sorry, it's just the E. No, yeah, Shift E. And then hold down the Shift key and strike through, because that gives me a straight line. If I don't, I can like erase like an S. But the Shift key allows me to just go straight through, gives me a clean cutoff. And then I could just select this. And if I want to, I could select it. I could pull it over and use it for something different. So I might hit copy on that before I delete it, because maybe I'll want to save that element for something later. Drag that down there like that. And then I'm going to go ahead and take this guy here just to make things look a little bit more solid. And I'm going to drag that down like that. And then I don't really care what's happening down here because I'm planning to brake to the bottom of the car. So now I just have these colors like that. It's nice and solid. And so you always got to think through your graphics in that way. That's why I try to always finish the tops and the bottoms of the graphic, because you never know what side you're going to use. And no matter what, you could just always brake to the bottom of the car. You can grab any graphic, grab the bottom points on it and drag it to the bottom. And then you got a graphic that splits the car in half. So I could do the same exact thing here with this one. I don't need to use this side. It gives me a totally different vibe or feel if I just take the points. And even though this is a really simple shape, like I could just take these points and drag them down, and it gives me, it's like a whole nother option. It's a totally different kind of look and feel to what I'm doing here. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and save that. I'm going to delete these two synthwave images out. So you could just Google that, synthwave, and that's the style that we're sort of going for. I left this in here, these elements here. I'm going to show you how to do something. Always in my videos, we're going to do a thing, and then we're going to do a whole bunch of hot tips. And so people who like tune in for 2 seconds, they're going to end up missing a whole bunch of stuff because there's little hidden things in Adobe Illustrator that I'm going to do that I can't put it all in the title of video. Change the color, modify this, outer glow on that, warp, skew. I'm not going to put all that in the title. So you got to almost just follow along and track along to find the little tips as I go. So a quick outer glow. Now this won't always print well, so you got to experiment when you're printing. on your outer glow, but you can see I did it here on the 130, just a little outer glow on there, and that's kind of that again, that synthwave feel. I did the same thing, not really massive amounts, but just enough on the sponsor. Okay, same thing. And you can see I did it on these lines. So I'm going to show you how I did that. So I got the teal color here. This is just a basic teal. And so I'm going to use it as my outer glow. So I'm going to take this shape here, and I'm just going to turn it the teal color like that. And it's similar to Photoshop, but it really slows your file down. So you just got to be super careful while you're doing it. If you do it too much, it will really slow down the processing speeds at which you're working at. So I'm going to go to Effect. A lot of cool stuff in the effects. So you really want to learn this menu here. And I'm going to go to Stylize, and you can see there's feather, inner glow, outer glow, rounded corners, scribble, all these kinds of things. Now the reason that they're in effect is because that they don't break your workflow, meaning like you can go back and edit it later. It's not a final, you're not doing anything final. So basically anything that's happening in the effect panel is anything that Adobe Illustrator could do somewhere else, like offsetting paths and things like that. But you can come back and edit the offset path, the size of it or the shape, and the offset path will move with it. And so that's what you want to keep in mind is when you're using this, you're making it so that you can go back and edit things later before you finalize your work and expand it to paths. So I'm going to go to Effect. I'm going to go to Stylize, and I'm going to go to Outer Glow. And for now, I'm just going to set it to normal. And I had already set it to the teal color. So I'm going to go to my color swatches, and you can see there it is, it's teal. But all my other color swatches are in here as options, so I could do it that way. And again, you want to experiment with this. Depending if you're working in CMYK or RGB, it's going to do different things. So you got to be aware of that. CMYK is always going to look dull. It just always is especially when you're doing stuff like this. So typically when I'm doing videos, I'm always working in RGB because I want it to pop off my screen. Some guys print in RGB, some guys print in CMYK. It's all down to preference. I'm sure that the manufacturers would say the manufacturers of your printers would always say print in CMYK. But again, this video wasn't about that. So I'm going to go ahead and click OK. I selected the teal, and you have all these options here. They're similar to the same option, or they're the same options that are in Photoshop. So you got overlay, screen, soft light, hard light, and they all do something a little bit different. You want to become familiar with those. So I'm just going to leave it set to normal, but you could also set it to screen if you want. Screen basically like pulls the brightness out of anything and makes it visible and gets rid of all the shadows, dark, anything with black in it. So I'm going to go ahead and say, okay, I hit preview, and you can see it puts it on there like that. And then you can mess with your blur. The more you blur it, actually, the less visible it becomes, but it expands out further. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and go back to 2 because that's what the good scale is for my particular canvas size. And now some of you might do this, you might try this, and what'll end up happening is see those little squares? It's like really pixelated. Now I have my document raster effect settings set to 300. So because outer glow it's requiring the use of raster. And so just make sure that you're set to 300. Now, this is an important tip. If you're going to set something to outer glow and you're going to work for like 2 more hours, just set it to 72. Okay. And then your file will work faster because all the raster is in a lower resolution. So you can see the outer glow on the sponsor did that. And then before you head to print, just crank up your document raster settings up to 300. Some guys print it at 150 DPI. So you could try that, but you can still see the little squares. So I'm going to go document raster settings and go to 300. You got some other options here that you could play with. So if you use those effects and you see the performance start going down, just crank your DPI down on your file because it's using raster elements. All right. So I'm going to leave it at 300 for now, just because I know that I'm good to go with my file size and all that kind of stuff. And then I want to bring this guy into some other spaces, just to kind of add some final details to the design. Before I do that, I'm going to grab this, just bring it up there. kind of see what it's doing there, kind of not. And it's kind of got that Tron vibe to it, right? And what I'm going to do with this again, I'm going to just cut it. So I'm going to put a cut here and a cut here, all while holding shift. So it's just a nice clean line with a couple of points. Okay. And then I could break this apart. And now I can start doing some more interesting things with this. So one of them, let's say I just want a little bit smaller, mostly for just dynamic, makes it look a little bit more dynamic with ones a little smaller, right? Like that. I'll bring it up here, zoom in. And I don't need any of these tails that are over here. So again, I'm going to delete those off for now. I just kind of like this. These are called deltas. This shape is called a delta. Okay. And so that's really the shape that I'm primarily focusing on. And again, I'm going to get rid of this guy too. Like that. And now I can take this and just pull it like that. And pull this, like that, and now I have a really good shape I can work with. It's easy to now I could have just recreated that in I could have just recreated that shape just as easily as I pulled it from that shape, but that's kind of the way that you kind of have to think while you're designing, is like, what's the most I can get out of this? I'm going to put that somewhere in there like that. I actually like better if this was that. I like the two little lines. It just kind of makes it, gives it a little, like a detail there. And I'll pull another one down here. Just run that straight through the center of my sponsor here. And I'll add another one in. This will be the last thing I do. And we'll take a look at it on the preview, and I'll determine if I need to make any adjustments. I won't make the adjustments in the video, though, just because there's no need for that. That in there like that. Could do this. And just run those behind there like that. It's kind of an idea there. And there's a lot more that could be done. I would probably, experiment with some textures in the background and doing some other things. And then, add some hatches. I call them hatches. And all right, so we're going to do one more hot tip. All right, I'm going to show you the blend tool. And that will be the last thing that we do. I said that graphic would be the last thing I would do, or add that piece in, but I like showing you guys stuff. So, you got those speed line, those hatches that they go from bigger to smaller. So we're going to do that. I'm going to turn this black like that. And then we're going to just make a smaller one. And so essentially what Illustrator is going to do is it's going to take this one, and it's going to average it out in 8 steps. And I don't have to, you guys do this. So like pull one, do that, pull one, do that, pull one, don't do that. You don't need to do that. All right. So we're going to go ahead and grab these two guys, and I'm going to go to object, blend, and I'm going to go to blend options. And then I'm going to say specified steps. And you can do this with any shape. You can do it with a circle. You can do it with anything. And I just want to do 8 steps. Okay. Something like that. And I'm going to click OK. Now here's the tricky thing with Illustrator is you would think that's going to do it. You got to go back one more time, object, blend, and then make. And then there you go. That's what you end up with. And so all I have to do is pull this guy, and it's going to keep on showing them. So I got 8 steps. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 steps in there. I think there's another one hidden in there. Okay. And then whatever I do to this one or this one, the rest of them will just automatically receive it. So if I just change this guy here, see how it changes there? Or if I just change that, see how it changes these and they average out? Or I can say, I just want them to be a little thicker. And so now you can see it's exactly what you want it to do. You can go back, Object, Blend, and Blend Options, and then change the steps to 10. And hit preview, and there you got 10. Or you can change it to 5. However you want to do it, and you get all those little options. So I call those speed hatches or just hatches. And so then we can go expand, and that's going to give us so I went to object in case you missed it, and I went to expand, and now we have these as vector shapes. So no longer can we edit the specified steps. And then I could just pull these and do all kinds of different things with them. And so I'm going to do this. And then just shear it. Let's go 30. Probably could change it some more. Mess with it. But I'm just kind of showing you the kind of thing that I would do. I would just get some details in there. That. And I would want this to match my SKU that's on my sponsor. So I can put these in there. Like that. So something like that. And you could even, I don't like these details to be super prominent. So I just put them in like as black or something like that. But you could, experiment and do something like this and start playing with it. I don't want to do that. And then same thing up here, you could do it in the wing, things like that. So that concludes this video tutorial. If you guys have any questions, always just feel free to hit me up. You can put them in the comments of the videos, srgfx.com/support. You know what I didn't do? I didn't hit save. So I'm going to go ahead and hit save, and it's going to update over on the other file. Other side. It's taking a second because I put all those outer glows on so you can see how long it makes the Illustrator file take to save. So we'll go ahead, click OK. It's taking a hot minute. Also, because I'm live streaming, it's like the processing of this and that. So now you can see everything went right in. And there's some other things I would do, probably add some sponsors down here, maybe some graphic elements in here, put some hatch marks in there, maybe some more here, some more there, mess with it a little bit more, and then I'll pop it into the portfolio, and you'll see the finalized version. So again, if you guys have any questions, feel free to ask me at srgfx.com/support. You guys can just message me on Facebook too. I'm like, I want to be approachable. So if you have questions or have problems or you downloaded something from the website and it doesn't work, always just reach out to me. Don't be afraid to reach out to me. The way you make transfer to the template is you go to File Place. So you're going to go to File. So I just have my file over here on the left, or my template on the left, and then I have a second canvas on the right, and I go to File Place, and then it's going to have you navigate to the file, and I just navigated directly back to the file that I'm working in, and then it'll ask you what canvas you want to bring in, and so you tell it to bring in the canvas with your design in it, and it'll do that. Then you mask it out and put it in your template, and every time you save, it'll auto update. I'll do a video where I fully go through every step by detail so that it's easy to follow along. It's not a complicated process. All right. Again, this is my third time closing this video. No more questions. No, I'm just messing around. But thanks guys for watching. If you need to reach out on the site or just reach out to me on Facebook. I appreciate you guys following along.